it's a lot more chill. It's a lot more of a vibe if you die. Because literally, the only progression you lose is anything in between where you are and the last checkpoint you had. I think there's a beauty behind that. I think there is a genuine beauty behind that. Mark my words. But, yeah, I don't know. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so as some of you guys may or may not know, I'm an avid Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Cringe? No, I don't think so. If you want to say it's cringe, you're mean. You're mean. I just like the franchise. Happy retirement to Scott Cawthon, by the way. Big happy retirement to him. What is the point of hitting that? Oh, I was like, if that's just going to be a weird, like, Mario Galaxy-styled shockwave against you, what is the point of hitting that? I really didn't think that through. I didn't even get all of that. Dude, I'm actual trash at this game. I don't even think I can make it. I was ballsy, and I wanted to try it. First death in the game. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all. Also really do like that, like, moons you've already gotten can just count as coins. It's basically like, hey, you remember those, like, 10 coins you lost from dying before? Yeah, you might as well just have, like, half of your progression to getting those back in the form of just a clear moon indicating that you've already gotten the moon, which is, I don't know why. Like, Mario Odyssey, I really don't think is the type of Mario game that they wanted you to feel pressured into a live system about, which, to be honest, I mean, I would have appreciated a Mario game either way. I'm an avid Mario fan, which is making me realize how much off track I've gotten from the original thing I was going to say, but that's the beauty of these types of videos, is that I ramble on for millions of years in ways unimaginable about these kind of things. But I'm an avid Mario fan. Could care less if the progression had to do with actual lives or if it was in the form of, hey, you only... Like, I basically, if I'm not wrong, have the equivalent right now of, like, 36 lives. Which is just... I don't know why that's funny to me. There's no reason it should be, really. I'm just going to be real with you. There's no reason that should be funny to me. And yet, somehow, somewhere, it is. I don't know. I just find that super funny that it's like that. Now, as for the original thing I was talking about, Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm an avid Five Nights at Freddy's fan. And here's the thing. Here's the really interesting thing about Five Nights at Freddy's. It's one of those games that I feel like is going to be such a good, like, such a good gauge for what you can do in terms of the usage you can get out of the handheld elements of the Steam Deck. Because, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's on the go sounds great. Now, here's the interesting thing, though. Here's the catch. And this is something that I know some of you guys might genuinely... You know, before when I last played this, I think in my original playthrough, it took forever to do this part, but I did that in a heartbeat this time. I think I just kind of remembered the PTSD that came with this. But the really interesting thing to point out is that obviously the Five Nights at Freddy's games, most of the official Five Nights at Freddy's games are on Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm not going to be... I feel like in some cases... There's certain games that you can genuinely sit here and say you would have a better experience playing the PC rendition of it, meaning you would actually also, in turn, because it's the PC and the Steam Deck are basically the same thing, you are in turn, there's some PC games that are also on Switch that you would have a better time playing on the Steam Deck. Now, the FNAF games, I think you'd be fine playing it anyway. I genuinely don't think that you are going to get a worse experience on either. I think you can genuinely get a good experience on both of them. Now, I genuinely do want to try both the actual Five Nights at Freddy's games on it, but also a really interesting concept you have to think about, and that I think is important to genuinely... Is this just a... Okay, free moon. I think I missed that in my original Mario Odyssey playthrough. Hey, another controller unplugged. Let's go. Let's go. But a genuine concept you really have to think about is the potential to now play Five Nights at Freddy's fan games on the go, which is actually a big deal. Because I know currently there's the FNAF Fanverse thing that will be putting some support for official Five Nights at Freddy's games out there as almost like an official thing to the franchise, even though it's not official towards, like, FNAF lore. I think if we made any fan games official to FNAF lore, that would expand it out too much. Just gonna be real. It's already as bloated as it is. Gonna be honest with you. As intriguing as, you know, I can find the FNAF lore at times. Golly, man, if you're in FNAF for the lore, you're gonna get a headache 5 minutes in. I'm just gonna be 100% real with you. You are going to get a headache 5 minutes in. But I mean, listen, if you're committed to it, power to you. Power to you, genuinely. Me personally, I'm more or less in Five Nights at Freddy's. Also, that was really cool. I'm more or less in Five Nights at Freddy's for the really cool concepts that a lot of the community can bring with the form of fan games. You have some of the more popular stuff, like One Night at Flumpty's. Maybe like the thing that started it all, which was like Five Nights at Treasure Island. That was such an interesting concept as a fan game. And there's the fact that a lot of those you're going to be able to run on that Steam Deck now is going to be really interesting. And I've also thought about a lot of the more heavy graphically games that come from that franchise. Also, I think my controller did unplug there again for a split second, but it was such a quick. You know, I'm realizing to myself I literally didn't have to do it that way, but I guess my brain was like, yeah, you have to go around to get that. Spoiler alert. You didn't. You really did not have to do that. But I think one of the most that was so sick. I'm sorry. That probably wasn't as cool as I thought it was, but listen, I thought it was cool, therefore it's cool. That is my motto. But I think there's a lot of higher end Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, a lot higher fidelity, like graphically games that you'll be able to have the potential to run. Now, as to if you'll have to lower the game in terms of its settings graphically, I'm not sure. The system of the System Deck is the Steam Deck is pretty powerful. So some of the Five Nights at Freddy's fan games that are like Unreal Engine based, you may not have to lower in terms of graphics, which I think is going to be so cool. One of the ones I'm most excited for is the Joy of Creation, the story mode, or if you did like maybe the free roam version. Now the free roam version may be a little weird because I mean I it's been funny seeing people on Twitter complaining about how it's like, yeah, but the specs of it aren't even that good. Guys, it literally has the power of slightly higher than a base PS4, which, you know, when you think about it from a concept is like crazy. The power of a little higher than a base PS4 in a handheld, like that's a little nutty, dog. That's a little nutty, but also exciting. And there's going to be games that you genuinely... I think the way that the Steam Deck's going to work is it's going to be very rare that there are genuine games that you're not going to be able to run at all. I think a lot of the definition of games you won't be able to run will be more or less in the form of emulation that hasn't progressed. So what I think is going to happen is I think there are going to be some games on the Steam Deck with the Yuzu emulator, which if you don't know is the Switch emulator, that won't run great. And I think it's just going to be that way. I don't think any amount of graphically adjusting it is going to change it. Also, Baba Booey. That was a good, stupid segue into the next recording, I think. That was a good segue. Good job, me. Think I did a good job on that one. But yeah, I really do think that certain things to that degree are going to be really interesting. In my opinion, it's just going to be really interesting to see what exactly you can push with the system. Because it's very clear to me that a lot of popular games are going to be possible. Like a lot of popular AAA games are going to be runnable on the Steam Deck. And, you know, Do I think all of them are going to be able to run the games at ultra settings, like cinematic settings or anything like that? No. And in fact, I would argue that there's a good amount of games you'll probably just have to lower the settings of graphically. Now, I really do want you to think about something, though. It's important to note that if your vision for the Steam Deck is seeing games in this really cinematic, high-quality, manner, I wasn't paying attention. I am thoroughly apologizing. If your dream for the Steam Deck is running high-end games, I think the thing that people should be shooting for in terms of things they can enjoy the Steam Deck for is the fact that you can run these really well. For one thing, the fact that you can run these really high-fidelity games, these really high-quality games like RDR2, just Red Dead Redemption 2, stuff like that, at such high quality. And there was even an interview that talked about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, the really interesting thing is that some of you may or may not know that Cyberpunk 2077 is it's a very graphically intensive game. Now, I have to today's standards, I have a pretty average rig, I would actually say. Now, like around a couple years ago when I was still doing content, my rig was a lot more like high quality standards, but now that you have stuff like the RTXs, I have a GTX 1080, which I think by today's standards is still really good. Fun fact: the most used, what is it? I'm trying to think. The most used graphics card for a Steam user, based on a poll, is actually the GTX 1060. So by standards, I'm actually in a pretty, I'm doing pretty normal things in the. Really don't want to talk about it. Could I actually Okay, I thought I could do something goofy with it, and I thought you could maybe do some parkour tricks. So if I go back and I find a goom, hold on. So I do this. This is how you do this, right? Is there any goom? Aha! Wait, no, I'm gonna have to connect him this way. Like that. Big brain. Hopefully I can still get it. But yeah, just that concept. I think I'm having a stroke. It's 4 a.m. Does this explain it? I think the big selling case for the the Steam Deck is going to more or less be the. All right, well, I'm not getting that. The selling factor for the Steam Deck for me is going to be running a lot of really popular games at a certain, just to a certain degree. I would honestly argue that there will be a lot of games that will look unreal to run on the Steam Deck, right? In terms of graphic quality. I think there's a lot of games that are higher quality that you'll really just genuinely be able to run well. Now, there will be some games that you genuinely have to lower the quality of. And to be honest with you, Chief, to be completely honest with you, okay, that's a very interesting situation. If your main selling point, no, hold on. Okay, my brain's all over the place right now. I've been recording for 40 minutes at 4 a.m. I probably should have recorded this video later, to be completely honest with you. But you know what? I'm here. We're here now. We're having a good time. I'm having a fun time with you boys. So, what's the issue, really? What's the issue? I think just the concept of running a lot of games that you would never expect to be able to run on a handheld is so cool. And even if you have to lower the quality graphically of it, it's very likely they're going to have a feature similar to the GPD Win 3 and the Aya Neo where you can limit your game to 30 FPS and get a smooth frame rate. But also, there's going to probably be a lot of games that allow you to, you'll have to lower the graphic quality of them, so they'll look a lot more like you're running it on a Switch. But you want to know what the main difference is going to be with it because of the how the Switch works? There's a lot of games that are probably on the Switch that I think look lower quality than they should, and yet they still run bad. I think a big difference with the Steam Deck is that there's going to be a lot of games where you will have to lower the game's graphic quality so that it ends up looking a lot more like a Switch. The big difference, though, is that that will actually have, I think, in my opinion, a much higher payoff than the Switch. You'll genuinely be able to get those performance increases in the same way you would with a PC, which I just think is so cool. You know, like, I don't even really, again, if you're caring about graphics on the Steam Deck, you're caring about the wrong thing, in my honest opinion. Now, if you're on an actual desktop PC, like I am right now recording this video. Granted, I'm on a Switch, but I'm recording off a capture card. You get my point. You know, if you're caring about graphics a little bit more on an actual desktop computer, a little bit more valid. Now, even then, I would still say graphics shouldn't be as big of a focus for people if they're, you know, playing games. I think holding video games to the... Oh, that's right. You have to, like, smash him on these. That's right. If your standard that you're holding people to is graphics or everything, I think it's stupid. Undertale has been a very Undertale's been a very well-received game for years now, and it is a literal 8-bit style. That should be telling, man. That should genuinely be telling. There's also a lot of games that I think are a lot less graphically intensive. Granted, the art style may strongly be there, but I think a good example of it would be Hades and Dead Cells, which take on such unique art styles that are not very taxing on a PC. But guess what? They run well, and I think that should be what matters. I think if you have a game that genuinely doesn't run well, which is unfortunately the case with a lot of Switch games, in my honest opinion, the unfortunate case with a lot of Switch games is that they don't run well. They don't run well, and it kind of sucks. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what, boys? With the Steam Deck, I think with the Steam Deck, as long as it gets enough traction, which, listen, it's a different market. It's everyone's sitting here saying it's the Nintendo Switch killer. That's weird. That's just, you're goofy for saying that. I'm sorry, you're goofy for saying that. Because here's the thing. I feel like a lot more people are saying that because it's a handheld. But realistically...